This is Bryce from Boyd Hill. Today we're going to talk about setting up the Boyd Hill 133 Donger. Kind of learning a little bit as we go on this one. We made this, this long, all mountain board, and really the trick this year was getting this super rocker board. But what we're learning is you want to set this up really as wide as possible. So we're going to kind of go over how to set this thing up. We took one of our standard top decks here. Normally we run a wheelbase. Talk about the distance between the trucks of 17 inches. So you get to go 17, 17. All the way out on this one would be 19 inches. On this one, I drilled one extra set of holes 1 inch out. So from furthest outside to furthest outside, we have 20 inches. I just added a couple extra holes. And I just measured off these ones, went straight forward, same size. Pretty simple. But if you didn't want to do that, you could go all the way out and all the way out, which would be 19 inches. Let's bring the ski in. I'll kind of show you what's going on here. So from the furthest out insert to the furthest out insert is 20 inches. So I'm going to set the trucks all the way back on this one and all the way forward. So even if you didn't feel like drilling that deck out, you only wanted to go the 19 inches, it's going to look like the very back holes to the second to the front. And you can do that without drilling any holes in the deck at all. Might also be a good time to show you how to grip a deck. This is a regular sheet of Boyd Hill snow foam. I already kind of trimmed the length to fit. The best foam tool in the world is your 33-cent Harbor Freight snap blade knife. They work great. Kind of roll it on here. Mostly centered. We have big. So I got pretty close on this edge, a little hanging off this side. Looks pretty good. So the next step, you can do this a lot of different ways. I like to cheat and use a small vise. Suction cup her down. Cinch her up. You're going to do one side of this board at a time. So I like to go, kind of start in the middle on one end. Bevel your knife a little bit of an angle. Instead of sawing, you're just going to do like one smooth cut. More of a pull than a push. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this. Vacuum table, you can get fancy. I'm using the world's easiest device. Just suction cups down. Flip her over. Get that cut started. Don't saw, pull. Follow the contour of the board, not cutting any board off. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Presto. Okay, we're going to set these all the way out in this 20-inch position we talked about. All the way out, all the way out. Alright? So we know it's 20 inches from the furthest insert to the furthest insert. We have the board pre-drilled at 20 inches. I'm going to try to get as much stiffness out of this board as I can. So I'm going to throw the axles on the outside. That puts more of the board on the outside. It's going to give us a stiffer ride. You could try it the other way. I would try it this way. 10 millimeter. If you don't screw up your inserts, I like to start them by hand. And then use power tools, but you can just grab a number 10, just a 10 millimeter wrench, and ease these in yourself. I kind of cheat and just go for it. Same thing, always start these by hand. If you get a screwed up bolt with a bad thread, you chew up that insert, you're in a world of hurt because you can't really replace the insert, you can always replace the bolt Luckily, the inserts are made of harder steel than the bolt because we're thinking. Okay, same thing. And they're bottomed out. Lock washers are smashed. And we are set up at 20 inches. We're going to set this board right on top here. Get this all ready to go. So I like to grab a pokey thingy now that we got the grip on. We have no holes in the top of the grip. So my outside holes that we talked about, I'm going to take a pokey, I'm going to pop it through the grip, pop it through the grip, all 4 locations. We know where to put our bolts through. So I really like to do, take these flat washers that come with all of our hardware packs, lay the flat washer inside that bolt like so, poke it through there. What you get as you suck this bolt down, that washer pulls that foam down real nice. You just get a real clean finish. There's no grip, there's no tear. Sinks that foam down there and it looks super pro. No one's gonna laugh at you. And really the best part about using this 10mm hardware is if you carried one 10mm wrench with you, you could pretty much take your entire Snowskate apart, which is kind of ideal. So you're just gonna go ahead and set your board in the trucks. We're gonna get the nylon lock washers on, and we are going to mount this board up. Okay, now we're gonna put the bolts on, the nylon lock nuts on the bottom. This is like always one of those tricky things. You'll bust your knuckles for an hour trying to do it. Unless you got really small hands, you're trying to get in the middle here with the wrench and hold it. So, I'll show you the dumbest trick in the world. It's also the coolest trick. These little ratcheting wrenches can work quite well, but you get inside the corners of those trucks and they don't always fit. So I just take like a regular old end wrench and I put a piece of masking tape on it. So you don't drop that nut, because you're going to drop it about 10 times. You lay it right in the wrench like that. That way you don't drop it. You can still set it up underneath there. Get your 10mm on the top. Get some pressure on this. You can kind of Helen Keller it in there a little bit. And just go for it. Snowskate, we were fiddling around with hardware and these stupid trucks. And then somebody showed me masking tape on the bottom of a wrench. That saved me hours. Just like that. So you can see those washers kind of suck that foam down in there nice. The heads are even. And we're totally set up. So let's talk about the theory of making this wheelbase longer. If you use that 17-inch wheelbase, say you're all the way in the back seat, somewhere a little bit forward, what can happen, even though we made this pretty stiff, is this nose, since it's already so rockered, is more prone. You're basically putting the trucks on the skinniest part of this board, so then it's flexing from there. So this nose can get a little carried away. So by extending that wheelbase, we're getting into this meaty part of the nose. Effective edge, all your control is going to be in between the trucks. Now the nose has gotten increasingly, or quite a bit, stiffer. So this is going to go for a test ride tomorrow, and it is going to be dope.